The movie was boring. I went to go see it with John and Chris, and it was boring. Get the fuck away from the mic. I'm so bored. I don't know what to do. But the snow was pretty. The snow looked great. Here we are, in a buff. New episode coming out at you live.
Who's got the
It's your boy, Scott.
Man, we're 1 minute in. I've been interrupted.
I'm Cody.
I'm John.
I'm Chris.
You want to say that a little bit louder for the party?
I'm Chris.
There
Okay.
we go. That's picking up some
I
nice
expect you-
waveforms right there.
I expect you to talk like that for
It's
the
nice and
entire
toasty.
time. Hold on 1 second. Let me just-
Oh, thank you.
Feels great.
I like to
Nope,
keep
your
it a
hair
nice,
stay like
72.
Thanks for trying.
Yeah.
It is a winter wonderland outside.
This is
First
very
snow
true.
of the season.
Yeah.
Stop doing that.
Huh?
I'm gonna stop doing that.
Oh, you already gave it up, huh?
Yeah.
What were you giving up?
I think you gave up on Wakanda Forever.
I gave up on it.
A lot of people did.
I was just boring. I was sitting next to an aisle, and there were so many fucking people walking out of the theater.
So,
Oh, no.
I'm going to start this with, we got 3 of the last 4 seats of the night.
Oh,
Okay.
packed house.
So, no.
No.
So, sold out.
We could have sat together.
Sold out. We were separated. Like,
Oh
and
my.
the best part is I looked at them. I'm like, this is the worst seat. So there was a mistake with the tickets, or probably a mistake on my end. I'll take ownership of the mistake. Where I accidentally bought the tickets for the night prior.
Mhm.
Apparently,
Whoops.
I'm pretty confident I didn't because all my notifications came off half an hour before the movie started tonight.
Okay.
So I'm like, I don't know what's happening. But we ended up getting new tickets, and we
Did you have
had
to pay again?
don't worry about that.
Oh my god, did you?
I did.
John, you paid 6 tickets for this movie, and I hated it. I didn't hate it. It was fine.
So we had
like all other Marvel
second to
shit.
front row.
Damn it.
We had B row, which is
That's
Re-
up there.
hold on a second. We had D row, and then we had J row. So we had second to the back, second to the front, and then 2 behind that.
Fourth.
And I'm like, all right, so I'm not going to make these guys sit in a bad spot, so I'm just going to take the bad one, and I'm going to let them fight over the other 2.
Just like Jesus on the cross tonight.
Well,
this man
what a
sacrificing
martyr.
all for mankind.
Listen,
What a martyr.
God was like, son, you suffered enough.
I expect the sacrifice, and I admire it.
And I'm like, I text Chris before the movie started. I'm like, turns out I just accidentally took the best seat. You want to trade? And he sends me a picture of his feet fucking propped up all the way in the back. And he's like, nah, I'm good, man.
Dude, I love that scene. I like being at
Before we
eye
get into the
level.
movie,
You two are probably in the photo, right? Because he can see down in front
I
of
like
you.
being eye level at the middle of the screen.
I sat next
So I'm a bit-
to a bunch of fat white nerds, and one of them fell asleep.
You sat next to us?
So people,
It was basically a carbon copy of us.
so
they
people
went to go do their podcast.
Some of the least funny people I've ever been next to.
general consensus. Do we ever split seats again?
I don't want to.
Before this movie, every time you're like, I don't want to sit next to either of you. And tonight you got that opportunity.
I don't know, man. I said maybe I'll sit next to a pretty girl that keeps farting, and that'll be great.
You
No
didn't.
such luck.
No,
Not tonight.
just a fat white man who kept farting.
People did not show up for the movie until 2 trailers into it.
Yeah.
Which I respect.
it's
I don't
fine,
know
it's
why
whatever,
I wait
it's
around
whatever.
for the trailers. I
But,
used to be so excited as a little kid for the
But
trailers.
I was the last person out of our group into the theater. I looked at Scott. I'm like, I guess we could just sit together because there was maybe 10 people in the theater.
The entire row in front of me was empty.
Yeah, and people filled in at one point, but those people quickly left.
Yeah.
Oh no.
There was a lot of cars in the theater.
Dude, parking lot was packed.
Real quick, 5 minutes in, why don't we explain what you guys are talking about?
We went to go see.
No. You guys want to know what we're talking about? How about you watch the last episode?
Ooh.
Wow, we did mention it. We did
Scott,
mention
Chris,
it.
and John went to go see Wakanda Forever last night.
It's Black Panther.
You just gonna cave that easily?
I am. I'm a professional podcaster, and I want the audience to be as cogent and coherent and comfortable as possible while enjoying our commentary, your guys' commentary.
Let me describe for the audience. John was just performing the jerk-off motion with his right hand.
While making
right hand dominant?
No, John's a lefty. He's a southpaw.
Interesting.
The jerk-off motion has a totally different meaning when you're nude.
It does.
Yeah.
It's less of a motion and more of just a...
I wasn't handling the tool.
Well...
as far as you guys can tell.
I don't think anyone can tell.
It was really hard to see anything.
I know. It's a curse.
Anyway. Let's just... I don't really want to go into spoilers or anything, so don't worry about that if you want to go see the movie.
The only spoiler that I will tell you guys is there's only one mid-credit scene.
Yeah.
There is no end-credit scene, with the exception of it saying Black Panther will return.
Oh, wow. That's
I
a
know,
bit of a
crazy.
spoiler.
Well,
They've
that
been
might be...
doing that a lot.
That's a spoiler, what you just said.
That might be a good place to start, is...
There is no Black Panther.
There seems to be a very large African elephant in the room about how they went about dealing with the untimely and unfortunate death of Chadwick Boseman.
I was really excited for this aspect of the movie.
Yeah.
I've talked about this with you. I might have said it on the podcast. I don't know. Where are they going to just say, T'Challa had cancer and he didn't tell anyone? Spoiler alert, they kind of did. They kind of did do that a little bit.
And how early into the movie did they do that?
The first 3 minutes.
Oh, wow. Really quick.
Scott, about that.
Yeah.
Later in the, close to the end, we finally, Shuri is like, hey.
Shuri with a fringe on top.
Black Panther's sister.
Yes. Black Panther's sister is like, I tried to help him, but he told me too late.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Literally.
No spoilers. So, let's just go around real quick. I want to hear your guys' impressions.
Are you ready for the best part of the movie?
Is it a spoiler?
So, okay, no, it's not. I guess we'll answer what you just wanted to do first. I give it a middle of the road B-.
Standard Marvel fare from you.
Yeah, I'd say you look at everything they've been producing now, I'd say it's a little bit better, but that's not saying much. I mean, we hated Shulk. I didn't really care much for a lot of the TV shows. I do feel like this was better, maybe just because it was a movie.
In retrospect, Shang-Chi looks so good.
Shang-Chi might be the best Phase 4 piece so far.
There's so many problems that Shang-Chi has, but I had a lot of fun watching that movie with all the problems it had.
I love the CGI dragon.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, having fun watching a movie is like the best you can hope for, right?
Yeah.
I was so goddamn bored in this movie.
He was. He has said that well over 10 times already.
Yeah.
Chris, why are we doing letter grades? Huh?
Yeah, that was
we
my
do
first
numbers in this
You
house.
started this.
I didn't start shit.
You did.
You did.
Don't
Shut
you
the fuck
fucking
up.
lie.
They don't know.
We do.
Yeah.
And that's all that matters to me right now.
I give it a B+.
I gotta counterbalance you being a good podcaster.
Yeah, so it all balances out.
Like my mid my mid-tier Marvel
Mid-row,
movie
both.
is Eternals, right?
The
And-
okayest Marvel movie is Eternals for you?
Yeah.
Just a complete flatline.
Yeah. And so it's above that. It's above Eternals, but definitely under most of the fare that I really enjoy. I think it had some really good, some cinematography in it was really art housey. It took me out of the movie though.
Did Ryan Coogler return as director?
Yep.
Okay.
It took me out of the movie though because it didn't match anything else. It was just suddenly art house flick, and I was like, "Oh, why?" So, I don't know.
Yeah.
No.
If I had to give it a letter grade, weirdly, not a number, I don't know. I'd give it like a C minus probably.
I think you said you'd rate it a 1.
Yeah, I did see one finger risen up there, but it's odd that he chose that one to indicate a 1. He flipped me off. Anyway,
Chris did.
it's not funny.
Okay.
The movie, not what we were just saying.
Well, that wasn't funny either.
Yes. But I was just so bored. I keep saying it, but I really was. The movie is 2 hours and 40 fucking minutes long.
Yep.
You could have taken an hour out of it. Like, so I don't complain so much about the runtime of The Batman, right? To bring in another goddamn superhero movie.
Yeah.
Because on the second watching of The Batman, you bet your ass I was like, oof, how long am I into this? Oh my god. And that was rough. But the first watching, I was into it, I was seeing all the scenes go scene by scene by scene. Each one led to the next. I was following along with the mystery, and the movie distracted me from its girthy, thick length. Veins throbbing up and down that movie. This floppy, flaccid cock of a movie was way too long, and it wasn't hard when I put it in my mouth. What's the point?
Wow.
I was bored. You might as well have taken half of that of it. Maybe then enough blood could have reached it, and it could have been some manner of oh, the metaphor is losing me.
It's getting a little strangled.
I think that's his lips.
Choked, actually.
Are you saying I should? Is that what we should do? To make it choke the movie into
I can only
hardness.
imagine the scenes that they were like, "Now let's take this out."
Yeah, imagine how much they took out.
I know, right? It was just, and every time comedy, okay. People always get this wrong in my eyes. Even what I'm about to say is subjective to a certain extent. I believe comedy is not subjective. Comedy is very mathematical. Humor is subjective. What someone finds funny is very subjective. Comedy is like an equation. This plus this equals money, baby. Right? This movie was not funny. Nothing landed. There was like a couple lines where I went, huh. And that was the best it got out of me. And normally that wouldn't be a problem. Like the example I gave these two idiots in the car right here was, I don't complain that Dunkirk isn't the funniest movie ever made. It's an excellently made movie. Christopher Nolan's a genius. I don't know if you guys knew that.
Really?
The difference is this movie attempts over and over again to make me go, that's funny. And it's not. It's not working. Nothing's landing. And because it's so boring, I can't help but notice the female elephant in the room. Is that every lead character in this movie is just an empowered female, and they're getting things done because they're women, and that's fine, that's great, good for them. It's weird that I'm noticing it, though, right? That makes me feel like an asshole. Am I an asshole?
Listen,
Yes.
you're looking at us for
But
reassurance.
maybe...
I didn't feel like they were getting things done because they were a female.
I don't know, man.
I did not. I mean, I get it because I've been getting that feeling with other shows, like all the shows I've been doing. But like with this movie, I think maybe because the characters were somewhat established prior to this,
I guess.
I didn't necessarily get that feeling.
I guess. That's my own personal bigoted bias going into the movie, I suppose.
You sexist.
But
Well, I mean, you're better than me. I didn't even go watch the
You
movie.
didn't. You don't even support those
Women of color.
women of different able colors and Anyway, my biggest complaint about the movie is, and this isn't a spoiler, it's a little bit of a spoiler in that you'll be disappointed if you think like I do. Man, the character design in this movie is something bad.
I can agree with you on that.
It was, I don't know how they seem to have made every wrong decision.
I don't know how you have Iron Man so fleshed out. And in the trailers, you know Ironheart comes in on this.
Mm-hmm.
Ironheart looked like a female Baymax.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
There was an Ironheart character?
Yeah.
Ironheart was in the trailers as well. That's not a
I didn't watch the trailers.
Riri Wilson.
Riri Williams.
That doesn't
Williams.
sound like you're allowed to say that.
Her name's Riri Williams.
Is that actually her name? Because
In the comics, that was her name
At the
as
end of
well.
the movie, I'm like, do we even know her name? Did they
Yes.
ever say her name?
They said it several times.
And then the AI or whatever was like, Mrs. Williams. I'm like, okay, well, there's half of it.
And I knew I was in for a good time when I sat down. And I was sitting there first. The three fat white dudes sat down next to me. And I knew I was in for a good time when the guy who sat next to me said, I don't even like Greenheart. She sucked in the comics. And I'm like,
You're in for a big surprise here,
All
boy.
right, let's talk about my neighbors. Okay.
I wanted to hear this story. All right, yeah.
So I purposely didn't tell you guys anything about this, but my neighbors walked out too. And man, I don't think they're together anymore.
Oh no!
Because like I'm sitting there and they come in like two
How
or
far into
three.
the movie are we?
Probably about 45 minutes to an hour.
Okay.
About the time everybody started watching.
Sure.
But we're sitting there and I'm just kind of eating my popcorn and he's eating his and I'm sitting right by the guy and then the girl is on the other side of him and she takes some popcorn and he looks over at her, he's like, you chew so fucking loud. And she's like, stop, you always say this. And he's like, because it's fucking true.
Oh my
Oh my god, dude.
And then he started just looking at his phone. She's like, do you even want to watch this movie? He's like, I'm ready to go.
Oh no!
And then she's like, well, are we going back to your place? He's like, I'm taking you home.
Oh my god.
Oh
And-
my
I
god.
like to imagine this happening at just like full conversation volume.
And then
I didn't hear it.
It was dead quiet.
and so like when they were getting up and going around me, she's like, are you really actually mad because of my chewing? He's like, that's not the only fucking reason.
Oh my
And
god.
I'm like, I want to watch this
I'm
movie.
starting to feel bad for this lady.
He sounds like a dick.
She sounds like a dick.
We don't know the
We
whole
don't
story.
know the whole story.
We don't know the whole
Okay.
story.
All we
Fair.
know is he's fed up with some shit.
Yeah.
And I think, you know what? Listen, they made choices, and I don't know what happened anymore. I didn't get to watch the rest of that 2-hour-long movie.
Well, I envy him.
About an hour
For having a
45.
girlfriend.
Oh,
I don't know if he does anymore.
Well,
No.
I envy him.
I envy him for having the choice
you
of
still get to
dumping
envy
her.
him for having the balls to walk out.
A lot of people were turning on phones, and in the first
Dude.
30 minutes, I was like, this fucking guy up here is turning on his phone, keeps looking at it. It's annoying the shit out of me. Hour and a half into the movie, I'm like, I get it, man. I get it.
Anything better.
As he was going around, she's like, wait, do you have the keys? He's like, yeah, I always have the keys. I'm like, oh my god.
He's mad about something else.
There's something going on.
He's projecting.
Oh,
The
man.
guy in front of me fell asleep and his skull candy headphones fell off. And there was a scene in the movie that was supposed to be this really heartfelt scene. And I'm like, is that noise the music? There's like a very in-sync, soft snoring happening. I'm like, is that music that's happening? Or, wait.
There's
And then,
cheaper ways to
and then
take
like
a nap,
half
my
an hour,
guy.
half an hour left in the movie. They get up and leave, and I'm like,
It's like,
oh no, this guy just left his skull candy headphones.
Oh.
And so like I picked them up and sat them in the chair beside me where the two people just left. And I guess I'm just gonna give this to like
Lost and Found or something.
yeah or something. I don't know. And the guy came back near the end of the movie, and like he came back at the credits, and he was looking around for him, and I'm like, God dang it! Now he's gonna think I stole them. I'm like, hey, yep, here you go. They're right here. I'm like, you dropped them during spoiler part.
My favorite part of the night, I mentioned it already in brief, was the man beside me fell asleep. And I didn't realize he had fallen asleep until he yelped a loud snore. It was literally like I could hear the breathing escalate. He's like, and then and his buddy's like, but hey, bud, and he's like, what, He's like, I got you, bud. You were snoring. It's like, no, it wasn't, huh?
I love that. I love that shit. You always deny that you fell asleep every time.
He's a weaker man than I. I stayed vigilant. I kept looking down, because I was distracted by the lights on the alleyway. I was on the edge. I kept looking down at them, being like, I just need stimulation. I kept looking at them, looking for something fun on the ground.
That's funny that you thought just static lights on the ground were more stimulating than the action movie on the 35,000 square inch screen or whatever.
Well, I mean, So we've been just ragging on Black Panther: Wakanda Forever
Well, one
for a
second.
little while
Say the whole
now.
title every time.
One second. Before we finish up, Chris, do you have any stories about the people that you were sitting next to?
I don't think it was sitting
There
next to anybody.
was-
I don't think they showed up.
There was a couple next to me as well. Guy.
Oh,
and
you said
lady,
there was a hot
and
mama.
She
Oh man.
was very good looking, and that's all I will say about that.
Okay.
Good for
So-
you.
Something else was stimulating Chris in the movie,
So,
and it wasn't
Yes.
Black Panther.
Maybe
Wakanda
that's why I
Forever.
got a B plus.
No,
But you know what? I'm
all
gonna
of
go
those
ahead.
bald warriors.
I'm gonna go
do it
ahead and
for
say
me.
it. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. Maybe you shouldn't take our ratings on this movie. We seem like we were all three
Yeah.
heavily distracted.
It looked like you were all in the theater, but you weren't watching the movie.
Dude, there was an awesome drama going on beside
Yeah.
me. And I'm like,
Oh,
I never
man.
try to be the sheep in a scenario like that, but I was like,
Just grazing.
Just-
I'm just grazing
stay
here.
strong, brother. But no. And the one thing I will say about the movie is that like it didn't shy away from the fact that like Chadwick Boseman is no longer
Yeah, they really full blast hit you, double barreled.
like they reminded you like, hey, yeah, this was our Black Panther.
That was the closest I came to feeling something. Was when they did the Marvel
Yeah.
thing at the beginning. It was
And,
all
like,
black. It was
it was
all
all
Chadwick.
Chadwick.
It was
Oh,
all
really?
Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah.
There wasn't music. Like it was just like, hey,
It reminded me of a
take this
Stan Lee
seriously.
thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah.
I feel like it would be like disrespectful if like they just completely brushed it under the
Yeah.
rug.
Yeah.
I had no idea
mean-
what was going to happen. I thought maybe like, Baku was gonna. There's a bit of a spoiler because he's not. Spoiler alert: he's not
Yeah.
Black Panther. I thought Baku was gonna be like
He's not?
the inheritor or whatever. Also,
Well, it'd be like a gorilla because that's their clan's spirit animal.
this is in the trailer. The Queen is there. Why is she in charge? Why didn't somebody fight her in that ring?
That did seem to be how you become monarch.
Yeah.
They established that very clearly in
I'm
the
not
first
really
movie.
sure.
Was it just a bro move?
I don't know. Maybe nobody wanted to hit a woman.
Because it's the exact same scenario.
Yeah.
Baku would
The previous king died, and now the heir has to defend their title.
I'm upset and kind of glad that they didn't outright tell us, oh, he died from some magic Black Panther disease. They just kind of kept saying an illness took him, like that kind of thing. They're really non-committal, and they say at some point in the movie that he hadn't told, like you had mentioned before,
Yeah.
Chris, that he hadn't told anyone. And it just showed up, and he was super sick, and what's her name? Shuri didn't have enough time. Like, she was trying to help him.
Very
Focus
much,
on the antidote.
very much reflecting real
Exactly.
life.
Yes.
Exactly.
It,
Yeah.
That's a bit weird to me.
There is a bit of incongruity there because he lives in Wakanda,
Mm-hmm.
and they seem to be having pretty good healthcare, as evidenced by the first movie,
Mm-hmm.
where they bring who is that?
Martin Freeman.
They bring him back to life.
I would have liked the idea that like how many times he took the herb, then lost it, then took it, then lost it, had a similar effect to like the
Yeah.
Lady Thor thing. Where like it was like giving him power, but then whenever he'd lose it, like he'd get a lot weaker because of it.
Maybe because
Yeah.
he spent.
There's
so
probably
much-
some Superman thing like that, right? Where because he loses his power sometimes.
Although you would think if he had his Superman Black Panther powers, that would be like increasing his like immune system or something.
because of his contact with the Avengers, he might have had gamma radiation that didn't respond well with.
maybe it was some problem with the like he got snapped, and when he came back, the heart-shaped herb, which is what they call it apparently.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, yeah.
I did not remember that. The heart-shaped herb was having some problem with coming back after being snapped for 5 years.
Yeah.
Or
Maybe.
yeah, or maybe he didn't come. Well, maybe
Oh, wait.
maybe he didn't come back with his Black Panther powers, but he was fighting in Endgame.
Yeah.
A spoiler thing happened that kind of disproves that theory, but I won't say it.
You
After
know,
the podcast.
honestly,
So
it's kind of a red herring to speculate about this because the movie doesn't want us to speculate
Yeah,
about this. They
exactly.
just want us to say, "Hey,
He's dead.
he was sick.
yeah,
He died.
And this movie was about bringing a closure to his Black Panther.
Shuri is the main character.
Shuri was the main character.
And we all suffer for it.
I disagree.
John
I'm not
loved
going to
it.
say I loved it. Okay.
Compared to me, it did.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah. Okay. I will say that whenever she was on screen, I wasn't, like, super out of it. I mean, I paid attention.
Yeah, I wonder why.
I mean, I don't know. I enjoyed most of the scenes that she was in. Scott's on the complete opposite end of the spectrum from me.
I think she's the worst character in the movie, performed by the worst actress in the movie.
Really?
I believe
kind of a
so.
double whammy there.
Yeah.
So, is it a spoiler to ask if she became the new Black Panther?
It's not a spoiler to ask.
You even answering that
her.
question is a spoiler.
So, it's not. I would say it's not a spoiler.
I mean, is this
what he said.
is this like a major through line of the movie? Because I don't think that's a spoiler. If it's this is what the movie is about.
So, like, even
honestly, I didn't know. Going in, I wasn't sure if it was going to be like she becomes Black Panther in spirit, like that kind of thing, where she's like, "Oh, I'll use the cool Wakandic technology to beat my enemies, a la Batman, and become Black Panther."
Early on in the movie, she talks about like creating a new suit that like increases their strength tenfold and like gives them superhuman strength.
It's
and
an Iron Man
stuff.
suit.
It's essentially an Iron Man suit. I'm like, oh, this is how they do the new Black Panther stuff, right?
Okay.
But like the whole movie essentially is like supposed to be about even in the trailer it shows like they're supposed to be learning like how to live without the Black Panther. And like the beginning of the movie with this whole Chadwick Boseman thing, she's like trying to recreate the herb so that she can give him his powers back or whatever.
Like apparently that will heal him from whatever is ailing him at the beginning of the movie.
But
she didn't get.
Didn't he already have his superpowers?
It's you know.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. That's fine.
So like the whole movie is about like, is there going to be another Black Panther? Who would it be? Kind of thing like that.
Oh, I see.
And like they're like, oh, Wakanda doesn't have a protector anymore, so they're. And also, I fucking agree with the rest of the world. It reminds me of elves, right? Where they're like, oh, we are so superior, you piddly little humans couldn't even think to approach something like us. You deserve the things we have. What would you do with it? You'd destroy the whole world if it were up to you. And
Wakanda's the same. Keep it in our hands.
Exactly.
The responsible ones.
Wakanda's the exact same fucking way. We're like, oh, if we gave vibranium to you, who the fuck knows what you'd do with it?
But wasn't that the big deal at the end of the first movie? Was that T'Challa...
They're sharing... It's a Wakandan outreach at the end of the movie.
He was like in front of the United Nations, and he's like, hey, we're gonna no longer be an isolationist country. We're going to reveal ourselves.
But then, and I'm okay with this, they kind of shut their borders, quote-unquote, a little bit again because they lost their king.
I see.
And the queen is in horrible mourning, obviously, because half of her family's gone.
So, I think we've talked about Black Panther enough.
Yeah.
You know, let's...
One last thing. Namor's in the movie, he has wings on his ankles, and it looks fucking retarded.
Oh, yeah, I suppose that's probably a relevant thing to talk about, is like, what was the conflict of the movie?
He's walking away.
I'm gonna go use the bathroom. I'm done talking about Black Panther.
He doesn't want to talk about it.
I'll be back in a second.
Black Panther or Black Panther Wakanda Forever?
Both.
I see.
Oh.
What about Namor? Got any,
He dropped the M word hard, dude.
Oh.
He's like, hey, I'm a mutant. Hard M on that mutant.
I heard the letter N the first time.
Those Marvel writers were just jacking off waiting to use that.
M for mud.
Marvel.
Mariner.
Submariner.
That's an S.
I was into the, to be honest, I'm a bit of a sucker for the Aztec aesthetic.
Real quick. It's funny.
Mayan.
Because,
Was it Mayan?
Yes.
Are you
They're so close.
Yucatan. Yucatan's Mayan.
Here's the thing.
Do you see this guy?
From a legal perspective, Marvel hasn't been allowed to use the word mutant because mutant, the term, was copyrighted
by
Fox, who owned the X-Men. And so when you have mutant characters in the MCU, like Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, they have to refer to them like enhanced humans. And so I'm sure they were just chomping at the bit.
Well, I
After
think
the
the
Fox
first time was in
acquisition.
Miss Marvel. Was that it?
It was dropped in that as well.
She is a mutant.
He, she? Who?
She.
Miss Marvel.
Oh,
her.
I was thinking Captain Marvel. There's there's too much of
Yeah,
this.
yeah, I know, right? She's also in Miss Marvel, by the
she
way.
showed up at the
Wait,
very-
oh no! That's gotta be
too
confusing.
much.
She was only there for the very last scene, though.
Carol Danvers. We'll call her Carol CD.
That's not Miss Marvel.
It's Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel's Carol. Who's Miss Marvel?
Captain Marvel is in Miss Marvel. Miss Marvel
but
is Patil.
Are you asking her actual
Did you watch
name?
the show?
Are you asking the actor's name or
No,
The character's name?
Character's name.
it's not
Did
American
anybody watch it?
Chavez.
American
We all
Chavez
watched it.
is from.
No.
From that other
it's
one.
been a while. Hold on. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
It's like Padma Patil.
Padme Patil?
Listen.
Padme Patil was in Harry Potter.
Padma Patil is in Harry Potter.
Yep.
Padme is
that's
from
the name
Star
you said.
Wars. Padma, I think it's Padma something. Anyway, she's a mutant. She gets cool bracelets, and then some smart
Kamala.
guy, huh?
Kamala.
Harris? No, that's
That
the
couldn't have
VP.
been Miss
That's the VP,
Marvel?
isn't it?
That is the VP.
Both Indian, though.
Interesting. She's Pakistani.
Oh, my mistake.
Ah.
South Indian.
It's okay. You
That
haven't
was a
watched
big-
it.
big
Except
gap
for the
there.
one scene that we showed you.
Some smart character from the show is like,
Wait, you didn't say her name. What was her name?
Kamala.
I don't know. I didn't see the last name. I'm not taking the time to do this.
You looked it up.
Guys, you understand. I'm done talking about Marvel.
I'm just gonna say, just real quick, some smart guy from the show was like, "Oh, it wasn't just the bracelets that turned her into a superpower person. There's something in her DNA. She's mutated."
Convenient.
And he looks at the camera.
So she has two things? What's her mutant power?
I don't fucking know her character.
Oh, wow. It's Kamala Khan. Are you fucking
Kamala
happy?
Khan. Kamala Khan. That's the one.
Kamala Khan.
Speaking of Kamala Khan, let's talk about something else.
Can we
Okay.
put closure to the Marvel talk? Because I want to talk about closure for
Now
something else.
you're the one talking about Marvel so much, okay? Let's move on, John.
What's your closure? Don't pay attention to him. What's your closure?
So, I have had a red light of unneeded guilt put on me for the last, don't touch me, for the last 10 years of my life. Everybody but Chris was there for this moment. It was the night that the Christmas tree fell over at my house.
Okay.
Preach it.
And my parents blamed me. They said I was hiding it, that one of you guys knocked it over.
You told the
and
story.
that I took ownership on
You
it.
told the story in the podcast.
We did, yeah.
You would have been a great friend if that was the truth, but it wasn't.
It wasn't.
And so you're not a good friend.
And so for 10 years, they've honestly thought that I broke the Christmas tree. And like through indirect action, I did, because I was the one who let those kittens into the house.
If through inaction something were to occur and it was your responsibility to stop that something from occurring, it is, in some cases, your
You have
fault.
the moral obligation to help stop
And so
Spider-Man.
great power.
And so today, at breakfast with my parents, for the first time in about 30,000 attempts of telling them, they finally believed me. They finally
John.
believed me. Thank you. Thank you. Better story than
He just
Wakanda
cried
Forever.
more than Shuri in Black Panther.
No, but
Jenny, you're great.
we...
Excuse me?
Huh?
We're in a circle. He's sharing feelings.
Do you know where you are?
We're in shock.
Nobody
We're not in a circle sharing
Nobody-
feelings here, Chris.
Nobody called her Jenny. You know, now that you mentioned Shaw, you better put...
Ginny, I just absorbed that. Ginny. Not a single person called her Ginny the whole show.
Do you think his name is Jenny? His name is Johnny.
We called him Johnny for years.
Stop. I'm uncomfortable now.
Oh my god.
But,
I'm so proud of you.
They finally
You
believed
didn't
me.
do anything.
All I did was continue to tell them the truth.
You're just so persuasive.
And
I'm
they-
proud of your parents.
That's what I'm
for
saying.
believing you.
That's a lot of growth right there.
Yep.
And then they were like, okay. It started out with me telling them again. And I'm like, I swear to God. I'm like, I'll even tell you guys about a party that I threw that you guys still don't know about. I'm like, I'll be completely open with you guys
Is that
right
the
now.
one I was at?
No, it was a different one. Somebody
Was that
drove
the
into
one?
the pond.
That was probably the worst time I've ever had.
Not the one I was at.
You weren't at, no.
No.
I'll tell that story. So John, how old were we?
17.
So John had a party, and I was basically just used as a cover. He's like,
That's accurate.
"Hey Scott, you want to hang out?" And I'm like, "Yeah, with my bud John, my best bud John. I get to hang out at his house. We get to play games, watch movies. It'll be a great time, cool time. Maybe the winter freshes will come over. We'll hang out with them."
Pretty sure we didn't.
You didn't. Lo and behold, we pull into your driveway. He's like, "So Scott." We had that conversation, and then little by little, people start showing up at the house, and I was just a cover for his parents that he was going to hang out with. Why? Why did you need me? Maybe you just wanted to include me. Maybe this is your last and greatest effort into Yes and you saw how shit it was for me. And so you're like, no more.
It is kind of funny because you're like, you were already lying about the party. You could have just lied that Scott was there.
But
You
I was
lied
there.
about everybody else being there.
A bunch of people from our class were there who I don't know the names of. I didn't know the names of them then. They all knew me. I was the weird loser in school, and they knew my name. And they're like, "Oh, it's Scott. Oh, say something funny, Scott." And I'm like,
You were just the social butterfly.
absolutely,
Just
sitting on the
hitting every
couch.
cue.
And then we watched Tarzan, and everyone
Man.
fell asleep.
This has turned into a terrible story.
I felt horrible. Oh,
Speaking about parties, I was at one instead of going to Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Sorry to
Really?
bring it up again.
how'd you feel about Black Panther?
You know, based, you know,
You just shut that roller coaster down fast. That bad boy's in for maintenance
How
now.
was your party?
given everything that I know about Black Panther Wakanda Forever, which is entirely composed of your guys' commentary over the past 30 minutes, I don't think I'd go see it.
Yeah.
Don't care for it that much.
Okay. I don't think that's what we asked.
I wouldn't pay twice to go see it and only see it once. That's for
Would
sure.
you pay 6 times and only see it
God,
once?
no. God.
What a chump.
Hold my hand.
Don't touch me.
All right. All right.
You know, I was at a party.
Yeah.
Did he get
Your
laid?
hair looks great, by the way.
Thank you.
I really mean that.
I got a cut recently, and it's in the worst state it's been all day.
I think it looks great.
Because you know, I was out, you know, having a good time doing all the requisite party activities,
Like
drinking drinks, smoking things, you know, hanging out,
cornhole.
Meet
beer
ladies.
pong.
Are you sober?
I've sobered up, yeah.
Oh no.
Then you didn't have enough.
Did he get laid?
I didn't. No.
Mm.
My buddy, who will remain nameless, he was certainly about to get laid. Seemingly with a lady who is taken.
Uh-oh.
Nice.
So it was way too late in the evening to be smoking marijuana. And obviously, for legal reasons, I did not partake.
He did not
Obviously.
inhale.
Just so everybody's clear, I did not wink.
You didn't wink.
I didn't wink, no.
Oh,
Okay.
that's good. She's taken.
But, and why would I? Because I've determined that pot has like no effect on me. Like I don't feel a damn thing if I smoke.
It's like cilantro for some people. It tastes like soap, and for other people, it tastes like
Cilantro.
cilantro.
But
Yeah.
this other buddy of mine who was there, you would have thought he was overdosing on marijuana.
Oh no.
He takes like 3 hits, and he's like on the floor.
Uh-oh.
Wait, was this like some loud stuff?
No,
I don't
that's
even know
the
what
thing.
that means.
That's like that
Some-
strong good stuff.
Loud stuff? I've never
Loud.
once heard that
The
term.
loud.
Because loud things are very intense,
I see.
Yeah.
like this pot.
And this podcast. Ah! Super loud. Super loud.
You scared me. I'm sure it'll scare the audience too. But this guy, he was rolling around on the floor, and he's like, I don't know where I'm at. And I'm just over here thinking, like, are you gonna die?
I wonder if you can. I'm sure you can, but I wonder how much it would take to die of a marijuana overdose.
A lot.
A lot.
Yeah.
And it
I
would
have
take
no experience with
it would
with
take
drugs.
it would take so long to consume as much as you need that you would have metabolized it.
It's similar to the cyanide problem in almonds, or is it arsenic?
Well, I mean,
whatever it
like,
is.
what if you just
Apple
take a
seeds,
shit ton of edibles?
Bananas. Oh, that could do it.
Wait, what?
Possibly.
It could.
I need to find out in like 10 minutes. Because there's one reason I got through Black Panther Wakanda Forever.
That guy that broke up with his girlfriend was like, "Here, have these," and I'm like, "Okay." Not really.
Ooh,
Not really, but now I need to go
movie
throw up in
theater
your
candy.
bathroom.
This reminds me of a time that I took an edible.
You texted me during this time. Is it that time?
Yeah.
Oh, I love this.
Okay.
So I had gotten this big block gummy, right?
Mhm.
And then I put it away. Forgot I had it.
So, for people like me, describe what you're talking about here. What do you mean by a big block gummy?
All right. So it's like an inch by an inch. It's about a centimeter.
It's like a chocolate bar, but
thickness.
it's gummy.
It was a gummy that was made with weed put inside of it.
Yeah.
I know what an edible is.
And then it was covered in nerds.
Oh,
Yeah, it was.
And then it went inside of a nerd.
Nice.
So
Who said it?
So
Can you guys just high five for having the same reaction?
we high five because
His
of Chris's
joke.
joke.
I was told that I needed to cut it up. It was like it needed to be cut up into like 4 different portions, right? It was a.
We don't
it
need
was
to be
a
quiet
lot.
about this either. I was the one who gave him this, and I was the one who told him to cut it up.
How legal is this in this state
Not.
that we're in? Okay.
So here's the thing, though. I forgot I had it, and I had it put in a drawer. And I come home one day from work, and I'm like, God damn it! I hate
Like weeks later.
myself. Months.
Months? This was
It was
months?
sitting in there in a drawer for months.
Yeah, and then I pull it out, and I'm
Maturing.
like, you know
Like a
what?
fine wine.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I was like, it's
Or
gotten,
Dakota Fanning.
It's gotten to be. One, I want this gone. 2, it can't be that strong anymore. So I
I
popped
don't
the
think
whole
that's how
thing.
it works.
The whole thing that you're supposed to break up into 4 bits?
Yep.
Yeah.
Is it? Are you just saying the number 4? Was it supposed to be
No,
more?
that's what I told him.
Okay.
So yeah, I ate it all. And then I'm like,
Were you
that's-
trying to kill yourself? Are you okay?
No. Thing
He was
is,
just trying to not feel for a little while.
Scott, you were there for this.
Man.
I was there?
I got on Discord because I did not feel it. I did not feel it at all. And it was hours. So I was playing Minecraft, I guess. And you were on Discord. And so we started talking over Discord. Remember when I was like, Scott, I have to go?
No. I don't remember this. When
Well,
was this?
I had
Like this year?
yes.
It's like during the summer.
Yeah. I had left because I was like, man, I'm so hungry. After I had just eaten an entire Casano's extra large pizza. And I was like, why am I so hungry? My stomach is like empty.
You would think all that lettuce would fill you up.
So
Yeah.
I went in there. I went in there. I forget what I grabbed, but I started just eating food right out of the fridge. And I was like, wait, hold on. Does my grandma... I work tomorrow. Does my grandma work tomorrow? So I go in there, and I think I asked them if she worked tomorrow. And then I walked back into the kitchen, and then I realized, oh, all the lights are stroby. That's not good. So I go to the bathroom, and I stare at myself in the mirror. And I'm like, okay, Chris, you gotta stay
You're maintaining an erection.
But the thing is, every time I would look away to like pee, because I had to pee, every time I would look away to pee, everything would go strobe again. But if I stared at myself in the mirror, it wouldn't be strobe.
Wait, what's the geometry of your bathroom where you could look in the mirror
No, it was-
and pee at the same?
it was peeing.
He's leaning
and I was
left.
leaning.
Whew, that can't be good.
So I was staring.
He
And
doesn't know, but he's peeing into the trash.
All over.
I watched
Just into the sink.
It's all going to the same place.
So then I'm washing my hands, and I'm like, okay, I don't want to turn to grab the towel so I'll just wipe on me. I didn't even have a
absolutely
shirt. I didn't have a shirt on at the time.
Did you wash your hands after that?
You just wiped on your body?
And then I go back into my room. I turn off all the lights. I put on the headset and I'm like, Scott, I'm going to go to bed.
I don't remember this at all.
And you're like, all right, Chris,
He
bye."
said you were. I think I hopped on later that night, and I was like, "Is Chris okay?" And you were like, he was gone for like an hour, then came back and just said he's going to bed.
I kind of remember that.
Yeah. So, I get off of the computer and I lie down in bed and I cover up with all my blankets and I'm like, okay, we're good. And I curl up in like the fetal position, but I'm on my back, laying in the bed. And suddenly everything goes
For everybody who
numb.
couldn't really hear that all that well, because he was actually demonstrating what he was doing.
I was on my back in the fetal position under all my blankets. And then everything goes numb and I'm like, okay.
When you say everything goes numb, please.
I thought I was paralyzed.
Okay.
I thought I was literally just paralyzed.
All right.
I was like, I have to now
So this was
live
not
my...
an enjoyable experience.
I now have to live my life without being able to move.
This is just my life now.
And you immediately came to terms with it.
He's becoming the man from the song One.
What feels like 15 minutes goes by, and then suddenly my leg jerks, and then, okay, now that can move. Okay, this is good. This is great. And then my other leg jerks, and this goes on for what feels like 3 hours until
20 seconds have elapsed.
until my whole body is like, yes.
20 seconds into
Okay,
the
we're
15
good.
minutes.
And then I check my phone, and it's still within the same hour. Like I had got off at like 9:15, and it was like 9:45.
Oh, that's an interesting development. You were getting off during this?
No.
Nice.
Thanks. I was going to make that joke. You beat me to it.
Yeah, you've
Man,
reached
we're
the common
2 for 2 on bad high
denominator
fives.
of John. Congratulations.
And then turns out I was told later, don't go to sleep when you have an edible because you'll wake up still high.
Is that
which
true?
I
Who told you
did.
that?
This person I work with,
Okay.
because I told them about my experience. And they've then informed me about their experiences.
I'm pretty sure that's wrong.
That doesn't sound
I
right,
did
but
go-
I don't
I
know
feel like
enough
your
about
body
it.
wouldn't
So, I've
hold
gone
the.
to sleep drunk, and if I wake up 2 hours later, I'm still drunk.
Well,
Sure.
being awake, you are using more than when you're asleep. Like, all your metabolism goes down while you're sleeping, right? I don't know.
I don't know.
That's how I
I'm
think
not
it
a
is.
biologist.
Anyway, I did go
Let's
into
get a
work.
scientist.
I did go into work the next day high, and I was super paranoid that everyone knew that I was high.
You were still high the day
I was
after?
still high.
There was a lot.
There
I
was
told
a
him to
lot,
break it
dude.
down.
I was high until
You went into work?
I was high.
You could have just called in.
I don't know if he would have known how to use a phone.
Yeah, his fingers didn't
I
work
was
anymore.
high until I got into bed the next day.
How do you know? Like, you say you're high, like I mean,
Like everything just felt
You're talking to me
so
here.
weird.
Like I don't know what the fuck would it even feel
Scott
like.
Straight Edge over here.
I would.
I know.
I guess to try to describe it is, at that point I would say probably his center of balance just felt off.
You know the Airhead commercials?
Where your head gets big, like
Yeah.
a balloon. You
If-
felt like that.
Feels like that.
This doesn't feel like something I want to experience.
My point of reference, at least when like drinking, because I don't feel anything when I smoke. If I'm drinking and I'm like drunk, you know that feeling when you stand up too fast and your head gets like
Sure.
lightheaded? That's what it feels like for me when you're drunk.
I mean, that's
all
like an
the time.
unpleasant experience.
You know.
There's times where I enjoy it.
I don't know. I don't want to do that. Everybody's telling stories about times that they've been,
Indulging.
While he was laying in bed, he texted me.
yeah.
Have you told a story? I want to hear a certain specific, very specific story of you indulging.
In alcohol?
Yes.
I don't know if the podcast is ready for that, man.
I think we are.
I think you guys are. I don't think I'm ready to share that with the group.
All
All
right.
right, fair enough.
We'll
Fair enough.
We'll see.
Here's my story about indulging. So I had what I would like to consider a life-threatening fever. And I was sitting, shaking, shivering in my bed. It was, God knows what time it was. I was staring at my open door, and I swear to God, there was a black shape waiting there to take my goddamn soul. And I was staring at him, and I'm like, he's coming right for me.
Mm-hmm.
He's here for me, and I know for a
Guess
fact
he wasn't coming left.
that that's great.
I don't even know what that's supposed to mean.
He's here for me, and he's gonna get me, and there's nothing I can do about it because I feel so garbage right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like in and out of it. That was probably the most powerful fever hallucination I've ever had.
Oh yeah, that was definitely like a fever dream or something.
I had another fever dream one time about a bat crawling up onto my stomach, and I'm like, get out of me, get off of me, bat, get off. And it started flying around, and it was like getting in my face. I'm like, get out of here, bat. And I viscerally remember grabbing a hold of the bat and feeling its like leathery wings. There's no way this is how a bat would feel in real life, but I remember feeling it and thinking, this is like touching a living baseball mitt.
I feel like you're about to tell me like you crushed the bat too, because like you're putting your hands together.
Well, no, I just had it, and I'm like, oh, get away from me, back it away from me. And then I woke up, and my hands had nothing in them, and I don't know what I was grabbing.
That does remind me that
So different experiences.
Right. Yeah.
I only got like 3 hours of sleep
Today?
that night.
Oh.
That I got high.
Back to this.
Because I was laying there and I could feel my body move as if I was laying down on a boardwalk. Not a boardwalk.
I know what you mean, but I don't know what you call it. Like
a dock.
a dock.
Like a loosely attached dock.
Yeah,
and
I
it
don't
was
know what they're
floating.
called, but I know what you
And it
mean.
was going to the waves. Yeah. That was... no. I'm not going to get high ever again.
Just because of that experience?
Let's never say never.
I would never say that. I mean,
you seriously overindulged.
Yeah.
I'm sure if you tone it down a bit, you'd have a
I
good
will
time.
say-
plenty of people have a great time.
Yeah.
so like
I'll just stick with drinking.
I
feel like weed is better for you than getting super drunk.
Oh, of all the drugs that are legal, alcohol and tobacco are the worst ones to pick. It's like no contest.
What was your
What
thing?
were you saying, John?
So, the edible that I gave him, I had my own little piece of it one day when a friend was helping me build a PC. And, like, it reached the point where I'm like...
Was this after you finished building the PC?
He did all the work.
Oh,
I was
so
just,
you were just...
I was
So you were just zoned out.
I was the son that was just holding the flashlight for him.
Okay.
Right.
I was that.
John, I'm
And
over
then-
here.
And then it reached a point. He just looked at me. He's like, "I brought edibles." I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "You want some?" I'm like, "Yeah."
You trying to get fucked tonight?
And we hung out for a while, and this was during our Dauntless phase.
Yeah.
Oh.
So we reached a point where he's like, "You're good. The rest is a one man job." And I'm like, okay. I'm like, you want Taco Bell or something? Like, I can get you something for coming out here and help me out with this. He's like, yeah, sure. But then I went and got Taco Bell, came back, started playing Dauntless, and I realized at some point of me starting to play Dauntless, to me
I
realizing,
think I remember this night.
it felt like such an out of body experience. And I'm just like, at some point I realized I was just, instead of just playing Dauntless, I was just thinking about me playing Dauntless while going through the motions.
Interesting. And you enjoyed this.
I had a great time.
The last time that I got severely intoxicated, not severely, but like definitely buzzing, it was at a Halloween party a couple of weeks ago.
Nice, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So many high fives
high
tonight.
five today.
That was the best one, and I guess it mattered.
I had a great costume. I was Eddie Munson from Stranger
You
Things.
know what? Post
I
the
remember
picture.
that picture.
You want the picture posted?
Yeah, we can post
Post the
picture.
picture.
Oh, okay. I will.
And I get there to this party, and everybody's hanging out. It's a costume party, and I brought like a 6-pack of something for the party so that people could drink. But I also see that he has like punch set up. And I'm like, oh, don't mind if I do. And I get a cup. I'm like, oh,
Is it jungle juice?
This is really good. It didn't taste like it had any alcohol.
It's jungle juice.
It's dangerous.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh, I'll take another cup.
Oh no.
Ooh, let's go back for a third.
God damn, bro.
Let's get a fourth.
You got lit the fuck up.
Let's get a fourth, and let's start drinking now, too. So I get like a White Claw or something. And I'm like, I'm talking to the host of the party, Zach.
What is a White Claw?
It's like a hard seltzer.
It's like beer.
No, it's
alcohol-wise.
It's like club soda, but flavored with alcohol.
What I mean is like alcohol.
Percentage-wise.
It's
Oh,
like
yeah, it's about like a beer.
Lighter in calories.
The ladies love it.
No,
I've never even heard of
this
it.
lady loves it too.
I bet you do.
I've never even heard of it.
I fucking hate them.
They got really popular like a couple of years ago. Now there's just this huge trend of like hard seltzers.
I remember now.
Anyway, I'm talking to Zach and I'm like, hey, that punch you made was really good. Does it have any booze in it? And he's like, oh yeah, a shit ton.
It's just masked behind all the Kool-Aid and
He's like,
fucking
oh yeah,
juice.
it's got like fruit punch and like whipped cream vodka in it.
Yeah.
And like, I just go, my eyes just get real wide. And like, I don't know why, but I started hearing the Curb Your Enthusiasm music playing in the background. And I'm like, I'm fucked up. And I'm just waiting for it to catch up to me. Yeah, I spent about half an hour just laying in his on his bathroom floor later that evening.
Dude.
Yep. Nice.
Sick or just because you didn't want to stand up?
I wanted to be sick,
Okay.
but it eluded me.
Your body just wanted it in.
Give me some activated charcoal, Doc.
So, I've become
Comfortably.
the influencer. So I went out with my family on Halloween, and I'm the bad influence in this group of people, and they all think that they can outdrink me because I'm the youngest. But their old ass livers say otherwise. So every time we go out on Saturday night for Halloween, and then the Sunday after we all have breakfast, and they're all these miserable looking people because they all went out at 6 o'clock, and I show up at like 7:30, maybe like 8. Because I'm like, 6 o'clock is way too early.
And they've already started.
They've just been chilling, having beers, having food. They went to like a bar and like diner kind of thing. And your air conditioning. Is that your air conditioning or your fridge?
I think it was my fridge.
Turn your fucking fridge off.
One moment. Let me get to the breaker box. No, I remembered to turn my AC off before you guys came.
What a man.
Nice.
AC shouldn't be on. It's 30 degrees outside.
So like they all had food and they've just kind of been drinking a couple of beers. And I show up at like 8 o'clock, and before they even see me, I'm like looking at the table. I'm like, all right, 1, 2, 3. There's 6 of us. Okay. I'm like, 6 shots. Let's start the night off right. Let's do like Jim Beam.
Oh, okay.
No frame of reference for that.
And then like for the rest,
Scotch.
For the rest of the night, like I got like fruitier drinks for people to actually enjoy and not just be like a hard shot, because there's some people that don't want to just do that. I read the room.
Yeah.
But I think I bought about 6 rounds of shots, and it was reaching a point where I'm like, yeah, everybody's looking like they're doing pretty good.
So like,
Somebody's stuck in the bathroom.
If I want to get drunk, how many shots would I drink?
Well, for you,
Body weight, metabolism, all that factors in.
If I'm just
History
a
of alcohol.
normal average person, how much would you drink?
I would
to get
say
drunk? How many shots? I should say.
3 or 4 shots would
So
make
6
you
is a shitload.
Well, 3 or 4, you're starting to feel pretty buzzed. You're having a good time.
Now, if you're
Oh.
drinking with that, like if you just have like a beverage to go with it, then you probably want to do like, I would say maybe 3 shots and like 2 beers.
Hold on a second. 3 shots to get buzzed?
Sure, just start feeling something.
This is a racket. There's so little in those shots, and they are so expensive.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah,
That's insane to me.
it depends on where
How does anyone... How... I don't understand
We
people...
should open up a bar.
there is a reason that Billy Joel wrote the song Piano Man.
Right. I don't know what that means.
So
I noticed a discrepancy
man who
in your
plays the
storytelling
piano.
here, John, where you're like, I know a lot of people don't want to get super wasted, so I was getting them, drinks. Anyway, 6 shots later for everybody.
So this is now the second year in a row that they fuck around and found out. And the best example of it would be my sister-in-law, who is go hard or go home mindset.
Oh no.
And she's having a good time. Every time I go out there with them, she's like, yep, we're about to get fucked up. This is great. And like the more shots she has, the more she goes and like dances and does whatever, and like has a really good time. But then she just passes out. And then somebody has to carry her to the car.
Oh
my God.
no.
Well, this really shows my ignorance. What I'm about to say. I don't even. So you see a bunch of people drinking a lot of alcoholic things, right?
Mhm.
And like I'm talking, like you see, like on TV, for example, the higher ends, like the really exaggerated parts, like in It's Always Sunny, they drink like freaking 20 beers each
Mhm.
or whatever.
That'll mess you up.
In real life, still, people drink like what, 5?
Yeah.
I've never even been that thirsty. Do you? I'm serious. Does it make you want to drink more, or
as you get looser, the drinks just start going down faster.
weird?
Because like it's something that somebody brought up to me, and I can't get past this. Is like if somebody says like, hey, if you want to stay hydrated, you should drink like 8 to 10 bottles of water a day. I'm like, 8 to 10 bottles of water a day? Jesus Christ.
It was 8 to 10 cups.
Oh, was it cup? Whatever. But like the other thing is like they say that you should always drink like half your body weight in ounces. Is like another measurement you can do.
Okay.
But to me, that's like, God damn, dude, that's a lot.
Sure.
You get me out to the bar in 2 hours, I already did that with beer.
Like, here's a frame of reference, and this is just my personal experience.
Mhm.
I'm about, I don't know, I'm 5'6", maybe 140 pounds. Back in college, I was probably 160, 170. But back in my drinking days, when we drank, we would always put Sharpie tallies on our arms
Okay.
for every drink that we had.
To like keep you honest?
To keep us honest and to keep us accountable, so everybody at the party also knew how much you drank.
Right.
And we said that once you got to your 10th drink, any drink after that you had to do in red Sharpie because you were in the danger zone.
Right.
So when I was a drinking man, 10 drinks was too much. That was like, I shouldn't drink any more than this.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, bad things are going to happen.
For me, if I go out with the intention that I want to get shit-faced, it's much easier to drink. But my problem is that I'll go out thinking, all right, I'll get dinner and I'll get a drink with it, and then 10 drinks later, I'm shit-faced.
You just have horrible impulse control.
That's also true. Chris, we've been meaning to talk to you about this.
Is this an intervention?
No, this is a podcast.
Okay.
Do you know where you are? Wakanda Forever.
I'm still
So-
high.
Dude, what are you gonna draw for this one?
What are we
Oh
going
my-
to draw? That's a good question.
My typical drink order?
I will
You
go ahead
should
and say,
draw Black Panther doing the Wakanda Forever salute, but he's in his casket,
Oh my fucking
and they
God.
have his arms
Also,
crossed.
I think you have a perfect frame of reference for that.
You just reminded me,
Maybe.
very minor spoiler at the very beginning of the movie. T'Challa dies at the beginning of the movie.
What?
And they do a funeral for him.
Yeah.
And I guess this is like a cultural African thing, but they're carrying him through the streets and everybody's laughing and dancing.
Dude, that felt so off to me.
And all it made me think of was bum bum dun dun
The same
dun
exact
dun
thing. 'Cause they're
dun.
all dressed in white and everything.
Do you think
I
It's
feel
a
like,
reference to
I
that?
feel like it was to an extent.
Not no.
There was enough there to give us the idea.
Of that specific meme?
Where else did he go?
I
I
think
went
it's
to
just
that.
a cultural African thing.
Yeah. Like,
I don't know.
why were they doing it in
I
the
don't
meme?
I don't
Maybe
know.
that's just what they do over there.
The part that put
Maybe.
me off the most, though,
I've honestly never thought about it because the video is just funny.
was like, the part that put me off about it was the fact that like everybody in the streets were like smiling and having a good time.
Like
I'm
I
like, y'all, your king is dead,
it's
dude.
to
Why are you
celebrate
happy?
his life.
well, I'm sure there's some bullshit like that, but I don't agree with it. Like if
This is fair.
I'm not if somebody that I
It felt
revered
too
and
fast.
loved died, that's not my reaction. I can understand if that's part of your other culture. That's not the way I am. Like I thought for a second I was gonna feel something when they do... Like, I knew there was going to be some hammy... Oh, Chadwick Boseman's dead in real life and his character has also passed away. I thought it was going to be, like, a respectful thing. And it was very respectful. Don't get me wrong. It was very respectful. But I thought for a second I was going to feel something. But then that happened. And it just took me out of it. I was distracted by thinking, is this just them... Like, is this a cultural thing that some African nations do or something? I don't really know. I don't know. Maybe I'll look it up when I get home, and I'll be less ignorant next time.
Yep. Well, just for good measure, we'll have our HR department have you do some sensitivity training.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll have to do a class 2 because of that
And we've already
insulting
established,
joke.
unfortunately, that John is the HR department.
Oh.
I really like.
Oh, what do you really like?
I love learning about different cultures and talking about funerals and things. Reminds me of an aspect of Japanese culture, where because you're supposed to be so stoic in everyday life that at funerals there's a tradition to hire people to cry.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah.
I find that extremely disrespectful. That's like it's like the equivalent of patting your bra, but for a funeral.
Yeah. My favorite Japanese tradition is when the salarymen go out with their boss and just get shit-faced on a weekday.
And they take shots off of a naked lady and eat sushi.
And then they pass out in the gutter and then go back to work
love
and work
sushi.
12 hours.
I've never had sushi. I really want to. You know what? Speaking of Japan,
Not had sushi?
and we live in Ohio.
I eat sushi.
It's a mistake.
You eat like
I would love to do. I think it's in August. Maybe that's just a huge guess. I'm not even going to say it.
What is it?
In Japan, they do obon. It's like it's kind of like Japanese Halloween a little bit, but they just it's similar to Day of the Dead actually, but in Japan. And I think that's all about me. I love doing that.
Well, what sort of activities do they do?
As far as, festival speaking, I think it's kind of standard fare. They go out, they have a good time, but it's with a spooky aesthetic. Not really spooky, just kind of Day of the Dead-esque aesthetic. All a guess. But I know family members, this is generally the time of the year, they would go to their ancestral plot, and they clean the grave, and they say a little prayer. And I think I'd just like to be around that atmosphere. It's really same with Day of the Dead. Ever since I was little, I've always been weirdly drawn to those calavera masks in Day of the Dead. I love Coco.
I was just about to ask if you liked Coco.
If I had won the big Powerball number, it was
somebody won it
1.9 million, right? Yeah.
It peaked over 2. I think it was 2.04 billion.
Yep.
How much of that do they get?
They get half, roughly.
Fuck me, dude.
Speaking
I don't care about it. $1 billion?
Yeah.
I was gonna say that person
shit.
almost became a billionaire overnight.
Speaking of Japan and festivals and things, what I would love to do is just to take 3 months.
You give me $1,000, I'll celebrate.
go to Japan and start at the southern tip in spring when the cherry blossoms start.
You were such a
and then it
weeb.
goes up Japan, and they make these maps that show when each section, what date their cherry blossom should be in, and they take the petals because they're edible, and they make a bunch of different treats and things with them. I would just love to travel.
Yeah,
up
they show that
Japan
map,
ride.
and it says specifically Fat White Tourist Trail.
Yes. Oddly enough, yes.
Yeah.
But it's in Japanese, which you don't speak.
Unfortunately, even though you've taken so many years of it.
No.
Un poco.
I think that's a different language.
Nani?
Oh, God. You want to do an accent to close this out?
Chris, I think this may be the most you have participated in a while.
I feel good about your participation.
The first half,
Unless, when I'm in retrospect, actually, I take back everything I've said. You didn't talk all that much at all.
Yeah, first half, honestly, he only talked about Black Panther, where this is becoming a rating session. For
Oh, I
how
know
much
you
he
had that
thought.
whole story about the weed.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
he participated.
Job. Great
Thanks.
job. I touched John's finger.
Yeah, he did.
I think we
So-
close it out.
I
guys.
think it's
Yeah, I
time
think
to
we
close
got
it out.
I think we got a good podcast here.
Well,
Well, good. We have a long enough podcast. I don't know if I'd go so far as to say good.
It sounds like Chris is trying to get out one
Come on,
more
what
talking
what
point.
are we talking about here?
I could read it.
The poem? The poem? The poem? The one that made the stripper cry? The poem?
How about we save that for next episode? But I'll give you a hint, a little tip.
It's
It
so
was
bad.
his.
It's so bad.
The title of the poem that he read to the stripper and made cry is this: Yellow Sundresses and Blueberry Donuts.
Okay. Okay.
What?
That's a
Beautiful.
little teaser for next episode.
Oh my
Also, we're going to
goodness.
talk about cults probably. I don't know.
I want to talk about cults.
You don't?
I do.
Oh.
I want to.
Well, until next time.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.